The following is a presentation of the IH Sports Network. You're listening to the Monday Night Roundtable. For the next 2 hours, we'll talk local high school sports with the voice of the Oneida Indians, Tim Smith.
10-5, touchdown, Indians.
Give me the corners, 2 scores, baby.
Give me the corners.
The voice of the Scott Highlanders, Rick Keaton.
Throw the ball, has a receiver long upfield, chasing it down. Catch made by Rylan Griffith. He'll take it all the way to the end zone.
Produced by the IH Sports Network, the Roundtable begins now.
Well, good evening, and thanks for joining us here on the Roundtable. Kevin Akers here is filling in tonight for Ben Garrett, and, of course, Rick Keaton to my right, Tim Smith to the left. We're going to get things started off tonight looking back at this last Friday's football games. Kind of a tough night around for both Oneida and Scott High in football. Rick, we'll go ahead and start with you. The Highlanders went up to Whitley County, or played Whitley County, one of the premier football teams in the state of Kentucky.
Well, they certainly are. Out of Williamsburg, they've got a former college coach as their head coach in Matt Reimer. I want to break it down into 2 segments right here, the good and the bad. And then I'm going to make a statement about the man sitting right back there. He made a statement that's registered with me ever since Friday night. The first thing, Micah Bowles completed his first touchdown pass of his career, actually. That was to Dawson Spradlin. He covered 20 yards. Matter of fact, that's the first touchdown that we'd scored since week 2 Eagleton. So, yes, that's a big deal. Michael Bond was absolutely spectacular on kickoff returns. He had 6 opportunities because the other team scored 9 touchdowns, Whitley County. But he had 177 yards of return yardage, including a 50-yard return and then the 78-yard return for a touchdown. So, Michael Bond coming back after that broken leg last year, cut his season short, showed us real flashes of the speed that he has. Dawson Spradlin, also, he had 3 receptions, 48 yards, 1 touchdown. We sort of saw Dawson come alive. Alden Whaley, a real workhorse the other night. 20 carries, 67 yards against a tough defensive team in the Colonels. And it was hard for us to get yardage. The things I want to talk about right now is Whitley County, they had a tremendous rushing game, 390 rushing yards, but in 4 of their previous 5 games, they'd rushed for over 300 yards. So that is what they do, and that's what they do very well. That even considers they had something like 140, 150 yards in penalties called against them. So they're very dynamic in that regard. Stopping Whitley County runs, that's a problem that we had trouble with. We've had trouble with that the previous 3 weeks. And one more positive, we did get Hugo Henry on the field. He did miss a 50-yard attempt, but, sometimes you're scratching for those points. After the game Friday night, defensive coordinator Charles Golden stopped by. We talked a while, and basically Charles said, I just didn't have the team prepared right. They weren't ready. I'll make adjustments, and I'll get them ready to go against Union County next week. And, it takes a lot, I think, for a coach to step up and say that. But Charles did that the other night, taking and deflecting all the blame to his coaching ability right there, which his coaching ability is much better than what he was letting on. But it's just a tremendous team that we went up against, and it's, we had 3 of those juggernauts in a row, having not scored a touchdown since game 2 and getting all the way up to game 6 before we got on the scoreboard again. I'm glad that stretch is over with. Union County is a very, very huge, important region game this week. They, like the Highlanders, have certainly struggled against some of these teams. And then down the stretch, just the way the schedule worked out with 6 home games this season. The last 3 games on our schedule, we get into October, Alcoa, Pickett County, and Austin East. Alcoa and Austin East are the region games. There's something to be said if the Highlanders can play well in this last 4-game stretch. And if we can pick up 2, maybe 3 wins, who knows, that would be tremendous for this program advancing on hopefully to the playoffs this year and set up the coming seasons.
That's right, and I totally agree. I don't see, I think you'll have a hard time with Alcoa, as everybody has, and they knocked off Knox West, but there's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't come out, I think, and win 3 of those 4 games.
Well, I think the possibility is certainly there to do that, and you never know. Alcoa, Coach Nix may decide, we don't need to play our varsity. We can drop down 6, but I want to go back to Alcoa, and Coach Nix gets this a lot from Coach Rankin. Coach Rankin respected other football teams. Over the years, even though he was a juggernaut in winning state championships, many times he respected Scott High coaches and our team. And, if he could get a 39-0 lead on us at halftime, that was fine. He'd come out second half. He would play his starters one series, and then he would start subbing all the way down. Nice sportsmanship. I don't know that Coach Nix does this because we've not had a chance to play Alcoa the last 2 years, but back on the schedule, back in the region again this year. So, I could tell lots of good stories about Coach Rankin, but everybody knows those stories, I guess. But, 2 wins, 3 wins, 3 would be great in this 4-game stretch, Kevin.
Yeah, they sure would. All right, thank you, Rick, for that. We'll get back to what's coming up next week, and we'll do that together. First, I want to now kick it over to Tim. The Indians took on York for a lead in the region, and that didn't turn out too well either.
No, York comes in ranked 2nd in the state. They looked every bit of it against the Indians. They had looked solid against everybody they played. Bledsoe County was their closest game. They played them down in Pikeville. It was 27-17. But it's hard to know where to start to talk about how impressive York is as a football team because there's so many different possibilities to talk about. I will start, though, with the defense because the defensive coordinator, and I didn't know this, I should have done better homework, but a really good friend of mine is actually their defensive coordinator. I've known him for years. His name is Mark Winningham. He's been a part of the Middle Tennessee scene for a while. He was at York for a while, Livingston for many years, and he's back at York. And I have a great respect for him, and he certainly has that defense playing well. Mark and I visited with him before the game, and I just commented on, wow, you've played 6 games and surrendered only 38 points. And his first comment was, yeah, it's too many. We've given up too many. So that's kind of his attitude on that, and he was very stingy again on Friday night. The Indians, I don't believe they got inside the 40 of York. I'm going based on my memory, which is a very weak thing, but I'm pretty sure. I know we got across the 50, but I don't think we got inside the 40 of the Dragons all night long. So their defense was definitely, to me, the story of that game. Our defense was our best story of the game. Now, you surrender 28 points, but defensively, there were several times that our defense was put in compromising positions, a couple of turnovers. The Indians' offense turned it over back-to-back, one with an interception, one with a fumble. Both times put York inside our 30, and they scored on one of those, but on one of those they didn't. At the end of the half, the Indians had the football deep in their territory, had a chance to maybe try to get some time off the clock, but chose to attempt to move the football. It's just a coaching decision. It could work. It could not work. It didn't work. Indians wind up having to punt back to York, and so instead of going into the locker room down 7-0, you go in down 14-0. But I didn't think it changed the fight in the defense at all. York had done their homework on the defense, and you saw that in the lack of tackles for Ben Gilbert and Braden Birchfield. They were very much intent on trying to make sure those two guys didn't look like they have the past 4 or 5 weeks for us. But offensively for the Indians, it's just a struggle to get consistent again. The running game has been a struggle. The scoring, obviously, when you don't score, the scoring is an issue against a very good defense again. But Oneida, at this point, has played 7 games, and in the first quarter of 7 games, there's been 1 touchdown scored. So it's a notoriously late start for the offense, and against a team like York, when you're playing at home, just too many factors like that fell against the Indians. I thought it was a good, hard-fought, well-played football game. Both teams gave their all. A pretty well-officiated game. I think, for the most part. Down the stretch, I know, Kevin, you've said I better mention something about it, or you're going to. So let me go ahead and mention.
Tim.
So late in the game, I want to back up a little bit, though, because the Indians had it 4th and 15. Caden Rector had been injured. He was out of the game. It's 4th and 15 with 4 or 5 minutes left. I think we've got the ball on our side of the 50. And we've got our backup quarterback with a 4th and 15, and we go for it from about our 35 or 40 and don't get it. At that point, York took that final 4 minutes, and they played their starters, and they continued to move more into the single wing, but they had the starting quarterback, left you in. I think he did throw one pass on that drive. They got down inside the 5. They got down inside the 1. With about 20 seconds to go, and then ran a hurry up to make sure they got the point scored, and that was the final score, 28-0. So, how do you feel about that? I think it depends on who you are, where you are, and I don't know that any of us have never been on the other side of that, okay? Clark Range, if they're up by 70 in the fourth quarter, they're going to be pressing you in basketball. We see that a lot. Some coaches' philosophy on that is when you stop trying to score, I'll stop trying to score. When you sub, I'll sub. And I've talked to different coaches about it, and some of them think the team that's losing should be the first to sub, and then they'll sub. Some people think the team that's winning should be forced to sub, or should sub, and then the others are forced to sub. And I think it just comes down to there's no set rules. There's no card, do I go for 2 here or do I go for 1, that coaches use and decide when they're going to sub. And so it kind of lends itself to people getting hurt feelings, people getting upset, and, people seeing things. So, I'm not saying that because we went for it on 4th and 15 and kept trying to score instead of punting it, we could have punted it to them, and they may still try to drive down the field and score. Maybe. I don't know. That's Coach Derwin Wright's question to answer on what he would want to do with that. To me, he did take the risk of keeping his quarterback in during that time in meaningless minutes, really, unless you could also say maybe he was worried that he wasn't facing a stiff competition down the road, and he wanted to make sure his starters played a full game against a team that was giving their all. I don't know. I mean, you can be offended by it, or you can accept it, but either way, it doesn't change anything.
That's what I mentioned about Coach down at Alcoa. When Gary Rankin was down there, teams, if he didn't like them, he went up. If he had some respect for you, he sort of called off the dogs. But, Tim, there's another perspective now. You mentioned the York, number 2 ranked team in the state. Now, if you've got that notoriety of being ranked, what do you want to do? You want to have a good score to keep that same ranking. Sure. So,
if you
rankings don't do you any good though in high school football.
but if you had any question in your mind on what they were going to do, you just look. 3 weeks ago, they beat Tellico Plains 74-0. So, if you thought you were going to be any different, you're not going to be.
Exactly.
So,
and I'll just comment on that. I think everything you said was very appropriate. That stuff, I don't care who you are, always comes back to get you sooner or later. I remember several years ago, everybody was beating the hound out of Grace Christian when they first started, and when they got a team up, they made note who did that, and boy, they started laying it on everybody. Real quick, I want to go back to you. I'm going to go over the region standings and then the results from last week. Right now in the region, Alcoa is leading 2-0 in the region. Kingston's 2-0. That'll be a good matchup when those two meet.
Not really.
I'm trying to build it up.
Thank you.
Scott and Austin East are 0-1, and Union County is 0-3. So that's your region standings. Last week, Whitley County won 63-14 over Scott. Alcoa defeated Knox West 24-7. Kingston edged Loudon 17-14, and William Blunt over Union County 56-0. So Oneida, their region stands at York, of course, is number 1 at 3-0. Oneida and Bledsoe County are both 2-1, with Polk County at 2-1. Oneida and Bledsoe will finish out the regular season against each other. Wartburg and Tellico Plains down in the basement at 0-3.
Yeah, I was just going to say for Oneida's purposes, you've got Tellico Plains this Friday night. Tellico has struggled. It's a team that Oneida should go down and take care of business of, just in all honesty. And if they do, if they're able to do that, the next week is a bye. The next week is the final home game senior night with Kings Academy, which is a meaningless game as far as like the region goes. And then you go to Pikeville and Bledsoe County in week 10. If you can get Tellico Plains, you set up a battle. Winner has a home playoff game. Loser will have to travel for the playoffs.
Hampton or South Green, I believe.
Probably.
Yep.
All righty, we're going to take a break, and then we come back. We're going to have a talk with a couple of our middle school coaches, Charlie Golden and Mark Profit, right after this. Welcome back to the round table. It's now our privilege to introduce to you the coaches in middle school at Birchfield and Huntsville. Huntsville coach Mark Profit and Birchfield's coach Charlie Golden. Charlie, we're going to start with you. We've got a couple of schools that have combined this year. You've combined with Winfield. How's that working out?
It's working out great. Got a good coaching staff. Everybody's getting along together, working together good. Seems like everything's pulling together. Really looking forward to finish out the season, hopefully bring back a gold ball.
There you go. And if you're going to bring back a gold ball, you're probably going to end up having to face this guy across the table from you. Mark Profit from Huntsville. Tell us a little bit about your team and how they're doing.
Well, probably the toughest schedule I've ever made for them, but I was wanting to get them toughened up for the playoff picture. I mean, when you get smacked around by Cumberland Gap and Jacksboro and stuff like that, when you come back down, the game slows down. And I have some athletes. And I lost my starting quarterback the third game of the year at Oneida, and that hurt us. But we've regrouped, and I've got an athlete there now, and he can run. I've never had a team that I've got 5 kids that can break under a 5 flat 40 in middle school.
Wow.
And we've got some talent. And here's the deal for I was telling you earlier,
Right.
Scott High, if they keep this 2 schools up, in my opinion on it, the rebuilding process is going to take place in the weight room and player development. And freshman JV schedule, these kids see success, they want to stay out their junior and senior year. That's when they're ready to play Alcoa in Kingston.
I agree.
Yeah, so let them see some success.
Yeah, both schools,
Right.
Yes.
Birchfield and Huntsville, they have a number of – I know you've got 12
I've
eighth
got
graders,
12.
and you must have a
Man, we've got – I'm trying to think how many we do have. We have a house load of 8th graders that's coming up, so – and a lot of them, already committed, so –
That's great.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we see it year in, year out. A lot of 8th graders, for some reason, will not play high school football. And if they would just stick with it, I mean, it's a little bit of a different game. I think they would enjoy it a lot better. And it will breed success because you've got that experience coming up. You're not having to teach these kids that haven't played that much and everything to come in. And I totally agree with both of y'all. If these kids would just stay out and compete at the high school level, it would make a huge difference later on down the road.
Charlie, let's talk about your preparation. You play this week, right?
We play Oneida this week.
Okay. And that's your last regular season game?
That's our last regular season game. Then we'll face Oakdale at home the next Thursday.
Next Thursday. And, Mark, we were talking with you just a while ago. You've actually got 2 weeks off because you finished your schedule early, as you said, and then you, by winning the district, you have that opening round bye.
Right.
So what's your focus the next 2 weeks? What are you going to work on the most?
I'm installing some stuff that they've not seen. I mean, I'm good friends with the coach at Murfreesboro, Oakland, and we Coach Creasy, and I get a lot of his bumps and exchanges. We run a lot of motion and everything, and we're putting that in right now. So there's going to be some stuff that they hadn't seen. I mean, I know what they got, a tremendous athlete at the quarterback position. I mean, he threw for over 1,000 yards last year. And here's the deal about Midway. Coalfield drilled them in the regular season last year, and in the championship game, Midway upset Coalfield. So you can't take your opponent lightly. That's the thing you have to get in these kids' head. I mean, they think they're going to come in and roll over and play dead. They're going to come in fired up.
The middle school game goes so quick, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and just a turnover or a moment can just change everything at the middle school level. That's one thing I remember about watching a lot of the middle school games is just how quickly the momentum can shift, and it's hard to get back in. What about offensively? What does each of your teams run? Is it similar? Is it something that's similar to what they're going to see at the high school level, or how do you manage that?
Well, I believe if I'm teaching blocking and tackling the fundamentals, I played college ball at Tech, and I had Coach Franchione was the head coach at Alabama for coaching football, and I think he ended up his career at A&M. He taught me to gear my team around the personnel that I have. I've been running what I run since 2001 at Fairview with Wesley Smith and them, and we've added some dimensions, but it's for a team that's usually undersized, the misdirection, and if you develop speed, it works well for us. Now, in the past, I've had the Jake Sextons and the Jake Phillips that could run the spread, and they did a tremendous job at Scott High. But right now, I don't have that type of athlete at the quarterback position.
We're a little different. We have we like running the spread. We like running the middle. I mean, we're comfortable running. We're comfortable throwing. So we've got a great group of athletes that can just really move the ball about anywhere we need to.
Now, playoffs are starting here and the following week. What are the teams that you're looking at that you're going to have to get past to get to the championship game? Well, I know you all will end up probably facing each other.
I'm predicting that Midway will beat Fairview and Robbins because they go to Midway, and we play the winner of that game. Then the winner of that game goes to the state championship. So I'm looking for it to be Midway again. Now, I might be wrong. I hope Derek and them can get it done, but they got a big challenge ahead of them.
We're looking for Coalfield. That's our big challenge, and I think that the way we scrimmage them, I think that we can compete with them and put this one behind us and hopefully face Mark, two counties in the championship game.
That'd be nice. That'd be really cool.
Hey, what about each one of them? We'll start with you, Charlie. Let's talk a little bit about your assistant coaches.
My assistant coach, I've got a great offensive assistant coach. We call him Yogi, Adrian Sexton, and Jesse King. They run pretty much the offense. Randall Duncan and Phoenix, they do a lot of the defense work, and Ryan Sexton. And then my son Brian, he helps us coach the receivers and the quarterback and special teams. So we have a pretty good staff that really gets behind the kids and moves them. We don't care to move them where we think that they can do the best job.
Right. Mark?
Yeah, I've assembled what I think is a really good staff. I got Bradley Stevens over there calling defense on game night, and when he's not at practice, we already discussed what we're going to do defensively. And then I have Zach Sexton that played for me over there. He's coaching linebackers with Coach Stevens. And then I've got Zeke West that played ball at Anderson County. He's coaching DBs. And I got Isaiah Potter and Chad Hudson. They're coaching O&D-line. And they're doing a really good job. I like to have coaches that treat my kids good. And I think that they were a really good job over there. And this is my last year doing it, and I'm trying to get Bradley Brooks groomed in to take that job. But, It is what it is. I mean, 32 years of doing it, and playing it for 54. I've started the youth league at Carter in the Cutter League, and then that's one thing I do want to come back and acknowledge. We were talking about keeping the kids out. Mm-hmm. At Carter, we had a separate freshman team that played all KFL. We didn't even see sophomores, juniors, or seniors. We played an 8-game schedule with Coach Canan and Coach Grandstaff. And we played on Thursday night, varsity Friday, JV Monday. That's how it went. So.
That's the advantage being in Knox County that had all those schools that could do that,
Well, and too, I forgot one. We got Don Massengill. I guess he's the heartbeat. He keeps all the equipment up.
He's been there as long as
he's been there as long as school's been there. But like I said, just a great coaching staff. And the fella told me one time, said, if you want to look great, surround yourself with great people. So
absolutely.
I like what you two guys do because I've known both of you umpteen plus years, and I like the message that you bring to your kids. I think that's very important to establish them now and try to boost their career on forward to high school.
Yeah, I appreciate what both of y'all do, and especially you, 32 years coaching ball. That's fantastic. I know Coach Terry gave you a plaque at the Oneida game, honored you for that, and that was –
He didn't have to do that. That sort of caught me off guard. He tricked me.
but
I do thank him for him. I love working with kids.
Everybody in the county appreciates what all you've done.
And the thing about me, I love coaching football, and just because you play it don't mean you can coach it. Believe me, I learned that when I started at Fairview.
Or because you've played don't mean you know how to talk about it either.
That's right.
True.
But actually, I would rather be involved in the strength and conditioning part in the player development as the coaching football, as much as I love the game of football.
Oh, okay. Y'all have any closing thoughts you'd like to add, or?
Just look forward to seeing you.
I hope
that's our goal.
I know.
Well, appreciate both you guys joining us here this evening. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have the Oneida players of the game coming up right after this. And welcome back to the round table. Once again, Kevin Akers filling in tonight for Ben Garrett. Now in this segment, we're going to talk to the Oneida players of the game. We got Levi James and Cam Cash was our lineman of the game, Tim.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with Cam because he's already been here once. It's like he came over and took his seat.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing. I mean, Levi was here last year, so he's been here before too. But this is Cam's second appearance this year, and we told him third appearance, and he takes this seat. That's how it works. But now, Cam, the Indians. It was a tough game Friday night. It was a very physical game. Talk about the Dragons and what made them so tough.
They just had a couple players. Number 70.
Yeah.
He went hard every time he fired off the ball. So they're a real tough team. They're real athletic, fast.
Yeah.
Just good coached.
Experience. Now Mark told us in the pregame, the guy you're talking about, 70, his name is Michael Wall, I believe. He was a junior. Everybody else was a senior. So this is not just a really good team, physically good team, but a smart team. They played together a long time. They knew what they were doing. So what did you all try to do? What did you have limited success in doing in stopping them? Because the defense was able to hold with them pretty good considering how strong they are. What do you think worked well?
Running the ball with Caden, it helped some until he went down. Then our running's kind of limited.
Right.
Because Gabe, he ain't that. Sorry, Gabe, but you ain't that mobile.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
All right.
And
Where's the bus at?
We're here to tell the truth. What about defensively? What do you feel like? Because I mean, it was a close game. It was 7-0. Then they got that late one in the first half, and all these things. But defensively, you did some good things.
I feel like our defense is real strong. We've adjusted to whatever team we've played that week, and our offense just wasn't clicking real well. Our defense, we played really good and strong. We didn't give up the whole game. I like that. And besides that, I don't.
Was that the best team you played so far?
Yes, sir.
No doubt. Not even
Oh,
close.
yeah.
I mean, you play
Not
cold.
close.
Yep. Okay. All right, Levi. So let's talk about defense first, because you're here as the player of the game. A lot of that was defensively. I think it was 12 stops, 9 solo tackles. You were having to come up and assist a lot on that run. How confusing is it what York does offensively?
They run that sweep.
Yep.
And they got that quarterback with you. He's really good. They can bounce it back inside. He's really quick, and that sweep's pretty hard to stop too.
If you don't get him the first time, you don't get a second chance at him, do you?
I mean, he can accelerate. He's really quick. He's a good player.
Okay, talk about offensively. Now, you were able to come up with 2 catches. You had the play of the game, the Little Drugs play of the game, and people have seen that one. So Caden's going to try to get it past you, but he's got a wall of York people in front of him. So he puts it up there. You had to go up and grab it, and then you made a man miss. Talk about that play. I think that was our second first down of the game, only our second one.
Yeah, it was pretty risky. Caden just threw it up there. Hope I was over there. I don't know. It was just mine kind of just went blank, just went up and got it, It's just one of them things you got to do. But I'm glad he trusts me that much to make a play like that.
Yeah. What do you feel like is a pattern that, like, is there a certain pattern as a receiver that you like to run that you feel like you're going to get open on more? Do you like the fly, or are you looking more for something else, or what?
I mean, I like a 10-yard out pretty good. Just dropping your hips really fast and get to the sideline, I like that. And I like running a post, make it stick inside and get out. Yeah, I like them 2 routes a lot.
Do you ever go back to the huddle and let Caden know that you were open and he didn't see you? Have you ever done that?
No, that's Josh Cole's job.
That's just Josh. Okay. All right. Well, we were told that earlier this year. So, Cam, this week you're going to be traveling. Everything still in front of you. You can still get a home playoff game. There's 2 big games ahead. You control your destiny on that. It starts this Friday night. You're going to Tellico Plains. Have you watched some tape on them? You know what you're dealing with in the Bears?
Yeah, we watched some today after running.
What's it looking like?
I don't know what to say. It'll be a good game. Well,
he's not going to give anything
you
away.
Feel confident?
I feel very confident.
Yeah. What do you think you're going to be able to do against them offensively?
Hopefully run the ball.
Yeah.
We need to get that going.
Okay, that'll be the primary focus against them. What about defensively? Have you seen anything on there that you're going to have to watch out for?
Keep the quarterback running. That's about it. They run the quarterback a lot, and I think we can stop that.
Okay. 5-2, Levi. And we've heard Coach May say a lot of people didn't have you picked at 5-2. He said people, y'all are messing people's picks up every week. So, are you surprised that you're 5-2?
No, not at all. I mean, I think that helps us. I think it motivates us a lot. People doubting us all the time.
Who's doing that, Mark? Is Mark the one picking against you? Does he come in the locker room and say, I think the other team's going to win, or who's doing that exactly?
I don't know. I just heard it at the beginning of the year. I seen the rankings at the beginning of the year that we were ranked last or something like that. But, yeah, it's a big motivating factor for us. We work really hard, and we got a lot of players that can play. We got a bunch of athletes. All
right, so Tellico Plains this week, and then you're going to have senior night coming up, and then you'll finish up down at Bledsoe County. What are you feeling like is going to be something that has to go better for the Indians in the next 3 weeks? What is? There's no doubt this has to improve. What is it?
I mean, like Cam said, we got to be able to run the ball. It's a big part of the game. We can't just throw it every time, Me and Lindbergh and Josh and everybody, we get tired. We need to be able to run the ball this week.
All right. And Cam, what do you think is one thing that absolutely has to happen? He's already said running the ball, so you're going to have to pick a different one. See, he stole that from you. That's the part of being here twice, right? What's another thing you think has to improve this week?
On special teams, we got to hustle better.
Okay. All right, special teams. Now let me ask you both this. I want a prediction from you, and this is a good prediction. So Cam, let's see. We got Tellico Plains this week. We're not having the round table next week, but whenever we have the next lineman of the game on, what Oneida lineman is just ready to break out, and you're just sure he's going to be the next one?
Probably go with Frazier.
Aiden Frazier. Yeah. All right. You think he's going to have like 3 sacks this week?
5.
5 sacks this week. Aiden, is that too hard? Is that too much to ask? That's not too much. We don't think
Cam,
so.
what you didn't see was when Tim asked you the question, Caden was sitting back there and going like this right at him. So you didn't see him, but you got the right answer apparently.
So, okay, now, Levi, I'm going to ask you, player of the game. You know who's wanting you to pick him. I can see him back there. He's trying to act like he's not getting your attention, but is he gonna get on this year? Are we going to get him as player of the game this year? Who's it going to be?
I think Lynn Lindbergh for sure should get it. It's been a long time coming. I think he should have got it a few times this year and last year.
What's going on? Are people like our defenses? They're not going his way. They're not testing him because they don't even want to mess with him.
No, they're always covered up.
And then he's double teamed all the time when he's running routes. Is that what it is?
He's open most of the time.
All right. So you're telling me out of the Tellico Plains game that we're looking at Landon Lindbergh as the player of the game, and you're telling me it's going to be Aiden Frazier off of 5 sacks.
4. We'll make it 4.
4 sacks. We don't want to make it too hard. Right? In Vegas, we'll put it 4.5, and Rick can decide where he wants to put his money.
That's right.
So what's his stats going to be that's going to get him player of the game, Landon? I mean, since he threw down that, let's hear what it is.
8 catches,
120
yards, and 2 touchdowns.
That means you don't get the ball any.
That's fine.
Now you're forcing Kane to just throw Landon the whole time.
That's fine with me.
Okay, all right. That's good. Sounds good, Kevin.
All right, guys, appreciate y'all stopping by and taking time out to come out and be with us and be with the fans and give them a shot at looking at you and talking to you and getting to know you better. So that's great that we can do that. We're going to get a chance to talk to 2 Scott High players, the players of the week for them, coming up right after this on the other side of this break. Welcome back to the roundtable. Now joined by a couple of fine Scott High athletes. We got Alton Whaley and Hugo Henry. Catch us up to speed about who's not able to be here tonight.
Well, Alton was our player of the game. No, actually, I don't know who our player of the game was. It was either you or Michael Bond. So you tell me, you knew the yardage thing, so you tell me who our player of the game was. Our trophy master lineman of the game was Jace Cloyd, who could not be here. And so senior, we're trying to, as you guys know, we try to get your seniors stuff on. So Hugo hadn't yet been on the round table. So Hugo received the invite to be here tonight, and we're glad that he is.
And let's go ahead and hand it off to you. Before you do, kicking's always been a passion of mine, and you attempted a 50-yard field goal.
Yes, sir.
So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we're still working on like the whole holding and long snapping, getting it back to me and stuff because I'm confident with kicking, but we're still trying to put the pieces together for me to hit some longer shots that, you know.
Who's working with you?
Well, Ryland's my holder, and then our long snapper has been a couple different people, but right now I think it's Micah Bowles. But I go to camps and stuff. I go with Coach Will Hoyt, James Will Hoyt. He used to kick at Tennessee, and I went to some Coles camps. They work with like NFL punters and kickers and stuff. So I went to a couple of their camps this past summer to get ranked and stars and all that fun stuff.
Cool.
And the coaching staff is very confident if we can get the ball at the 25-yard line. It's a 42-yard field goal, and they're very confident in Hugo from that. But did we have a lost yardage play right before that, or was it a penalty that actually backed the ball up? Because we actually had it down to about the Whitley County 30-yard line, I think. And
I think we had like a 5-yard penalty maybe or something like that, and just kind of threw it off. And it was on the right hash, which I'm more comfortable on the left hash.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we're still trying to work on our holding and stuff because we usually only get to work that about 1 day a week. So we're still trying to improve on that.
Yeah, and I want to stay, don't mind if I stay right with Hugo because he's also the punter. But you mentioned snaps. We've had an awful tough season. Punt snaps and placement kick snaps. Placement kicks are okay, but they're a little behind Ryland. And we were bouncing. He's playing a shortstop role very good. We're bouncing a lot of the long punt snaps back to him.
Yeah, Ryland does a really good job of trying to get the ball at least on the tee for me. But we're definitely going to have to work on our long snapping too, I think, because like Alton was my long snapper a couple weeks ago, but then he was out and he got hurt, but now he's back. So I'm hoping that maybe I prefer Alton to snap me the ball, but we put Mike in there, and he's done okay. But I don't know. We'll just have to see where it goes.
Yeah, our quarterback goes to long snapper, on the fourth downs like that. I mean, so, you're trying to fill all the holes.
Yeah.
But here's the tough dude from last week. Had like 20 carries, something like that. Got banged up a little bit here or there, but kept going right back in and kept getting pounded on a little bit more. But it was quite a physical game. But maybe your best game as a ball carrier, certainly this season, and we'd have to go back to last season. You had one or two good games, but your best this season so far.
Yeah, it was definitely physical, but I mean, sometimes you just got to step up and help the team win, kind of bring some energy back. I mean, that gets the team going. You see somebody lowering their shoulder, running people over, that just boosts the team up.
With all the offensive snaps that you got and chances to carry the ball, you didn't play as much defensively last week, did you? So that helped keep you a little fresher.
Yeah, they usually trying to stick me to one side. Whether I'm defense, they try to keep me on offense. But if I'm offense, they try to keep me off D.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was stuck on offense last week. Earlier throughout the season, they tried to stick me on defense a lot more.
I want to get your opinion on. We may have said it during our broadcast that that's the fastest we've seen Michael Bond since before he broke his leg. Is he back? I mean, he's been told he's 100%, but is that an encouraging sight to see that he actually handled 6 kickoff returns, and they were kicking the ball to his side of the field in deference. They were kicking away, I think, from Ryland, but the burst of speed that he showed us on those 2 returns was the best I've seen in over a year.
Yeah, I think he's definitely back. He's been back, but you getting an injury like that right there with your legs, that stops you from walking, running, doing everything like that right there. After you get cleared and everything, it's a mind game. You got to get your mind back to trusting everything, trusting that body part to make your cuts, your speed, your burst, everything like that right there. And I think he's finally gotten over his mind. He can trust it a lot more now. Said by a gentleman who's had a knee injury, and so he knows what it's like to try to recover from that and be prepared to go full speed. Yeah, that surgery over the off season, it was rough, but I'm trusting my knee more now too.
It shows.
Mm.
It shows when you're out there on the field. Hugo, looking ahead, you guys got 4 games left on the schedule. 3 of those are region games. Talk about the importance of these next 4 games.
I mean, they're obviously really important. Like after the game on Friday, Coach was talking about it, and he said, we can win 3 of the next 4. And I agree with him 100%. I mean, I would like to win all 4, but, if we win at least 2 or at least those 2 of those region games, then we'll be 3rd in the region or the district or whatever it is. And that's what we're kind of shooting for right now, is to beat Union as well as Austin East on the last game of our season, because it would help us a lot in the playoffs and just to get a better seed, and it will also help the team because we need another win right now.
I think that's very important. It's no matter where we go, if we're the 3 seed, if we're the 4 seed, it can be a long road trip. Johnson County is one possibility.
Wow.
Tim's been to Mountain City, so he knows that. Gatlinburg, it's not that far, but you just fight the crowd there like that. But, I mean, that's what we're looking into. If we can pick up 2 of those wins, a 3 seed would be huge, considering the fact we've not been to the playoffs now in
7 years.
7 years.
We were talking about it today, how we just wanted to work on. Like, we didn't watch film today because we just really wanted to work on ourselves and preparing ourselves for these next couple playoff games or these next couple region games to get into the playoffs. So that's kind of our main priority right now, is just focusing on ourselves and not worrying about what everybody else is saying about us, because that doesn't really matter.
Alden, what do you think in terms of preparation? What are the major 2, 3, 4 things that we want to work on, that we want to be better prepared to do, and that we will be able to do on Friday nights?
One major thing is blocking, and I told my lineman I'd shout him out, so got to shout my lineman out. Everybody was blocking, even Ryland. I think he had a pretty good block for me on the edge on one play. But I mean, that's one thing we executed really well last week, and we got to keep executing that. And our defense has to step up for sure. That's the two really main things, is keep blocking like crazy, and our defense has got to step up, make some hits.
Who is the one guy? You both are seniors. Who's the one guy you see on the team that has good potential for us this season or next year or the following year? Who's somebody on the team that you see being very successful?
Lineman or skill?
Like
either
offensively?
one.
Oh, okay.
Or a big
question.
defensive stud, whichever one you want to come up with.
I think that a lot of our young receivers will do well next year, and I think a lot of our line will do well next year because, I mean, I think that all of our line, besides maybe one, is a sophomore.
Right.
So I think that they will continue to grow, and honestly, I think the whole team will get better by next year. All the younger guys that are playing right now you have to watch out for all of them, in my opinion. But
any different? Oh.
No, I'm about the same way. All our young guys are gonna be good.
So, I just want to say I'm not a coach, and that's clear, right? Okay, but to me, here's what I would ask you guys to think about doing. Thursday night, you know, before this game Friday, Thursday night. I don't know if you've gone back and watched that Eagleton game, your guys' game against Eagleton. Get together and watch that Eagleton game, and watch how good you guys were, and how many times you were really good at what you were doing. And then you can only take care of the next time, right? That's all you can worry about. And then go out against Union County on that first play, be that player, and then turn around and do it again on second down. And you all are going to string it together, and you're going to get Union County.
Yeah.
And then once you get Union County, you're going to pick up at least 2 more wins, and you're going to give Alcoa the best version of you as well, because there is a really good version of the Scott Highlanders, and I watched them against Eagleton. And you find them again, and you put them out there on that field against those Patriots, and you're going to get what you're looking for, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Good message, Tim. Good message.
Y'all got anything else you want to add?
No, I'm good.
I don't think I got anything else either.
All right.
Other than, I want to tell you this, we invited the 2 senior cheerleaders up last week to just introduce the cheerleaders, and I asked a question, you know, of one of the senior cheerleaders, who she wanted to see excel in the game. And she promptly jinxed Ryland by mentioning his name, and we were calling Michael's name a whole lot, so we'll be more cautious on that this week, Ryland, okay?
Y'all don't worry. Ryland's got him this week.
Yeah.
Ryland's going to get him
He's
this week.
going to get his.
All right, good deal.
All right, thank you guys for joining us. We're going to take a break. When we return on the other side of this break, we're going to have a couple of cheerleaders join us up there, and we're going to make some predictions on the games coming up for this next week right after this on the Roundtable. And welcome back to the Roundtable. Now we're joined by a couple of cheerleaders. We've got Abby Crabtree from Oneida, and we've got Praley Sexton from Scott High. Girls, glad for you to join us this evening. Tim, you got a question?
Yeah, I'm going to talk to Abby first. Abby, so Abby's been on before, right?
Yes.
But not this year. So she didn't realize that this year she didn't come prepared to pick football games.
We didn't do that last year.
We didn't do that last year. Yet this year we're going to do it. So what will happen is here in just a minute, Kevin will call out 2 teams, and you decide which one you think is going to win.
Okay.
Now, if you get every single one of them right, Kevin gives you a crisp $100 bill next week right here. So that's what we'll do on that.
You didn't know that was coming either, did you?
Well, you didn't say it was real either.
That's part of being the guest host. It's part of being the Ben Garrett wannabe. So all right, Abby. So this year football, the Indians 5-2 right now. How's it been cheering for a team that's been winning for the most part?
It's been pretty good. Just having the game and then winning at the end of it. You get to go home. You're happy. Everyone's happy.
Are you a part of this new tradition? I don't know if everybody outside of Oneida has seen the new tradition, but if the Indians win, what happens? Everybody goes over and does what?
The alma mater.
Yeah, they cheerleaders, the players, they stand in front of the band plays the alma mater, and it's kind of like the UT type thing, right?
Yeah.
So who came up with that? Do you know?
No.
Then you should take credit for it. Abby decided this is what they were going to do this year. It was a great idea, Abby. So, and what year are you?
Second. So,
This is your second year cheering?
Yeah.
But are you
Junior.
Junior? Okay. All right. So are you cheering for basketball as well?
Yes.
Do you have a preference, basketball, football?
I like basketball cheers better, but I probably like football a lot better.
Which atmosphere do you think is more fun?
Football.
Yeah. Even like here in a month when it's going to get ice cold out there, you're good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. And even like 2 months ago when it was, you walk outside and you're just sweating, that's
that
still
one
okay?
kind of sucked, but I mean,
Yeah.
being cold ain't that bad.
All right. So, what do you look forward to most on a football Friday night about the game? Or are you just zoned in and worried about your job?
I guess just zoned in, worried about what we're doing.
Okay.
Because it's more like packed and you've got so many things to do half the time, so.
Okay. Do you have a favorite player?
Aiden Frazier.
Aiden Frazier.
Well, he's getting a lot of mentions tonight.
He is. Have you heard how many sacks he's planning on having this Friday night?
5.
5 that's what I've heard. So we'll see what happens. Now, do you? I see a lot of athletes. You'll watch them in the warm-ups and they have earpods in or whatever, and they listen to music. Do you listen to any music to get ready to go, or
No.
no? What's your favorite music?
Pop, I guess.
Pop? Just no specific singer.
Suicide Boys.
Okay. What about Aiden? Does he listen to music to get fired up?
I'm not sure, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's a good guess. It looks like he gave us a thumbs up. You're right. Okay, Rick.
Can I kick in real quick?
Go ahead.
Y'all had the kids in that you was in cheer camp this last
Yes.
night. Tell us a little bit how that cheer camp went and what all was involved with that.
Well, it was a week over the summer going over all the cheers. We teach them dances and stuff. And then coming up Friday, that we had practice with them on Thursday before. Get to go over everything with them and then go out on the field. It's really fun, like getting to be with the kids and everything and getting to see what all they can do.
It was ages about 3 through 10 or 11?
9 and up, yeah.
Did you do that as a youngster before doing this?
No, I never had any interest in cheer before.
Well, what happened?
I don't know. I played soccer from 4th grade up to freshman year, and then I just wanted to be a cheerleader.
Interesting.
There you go. Presley, would you tell us what grade you're in? How long you've been cheering?
I'm a junior, and I cheered all through high school so far. And then I also cheered in middle school, and I done storms before that. So I've been
So
cheering
you
for
are
a
a
while.
dedicated cheerleader from an early age.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. During a football game, is your head on a swivel, or you've got a favorite player out there that you're supposed to be cheering like this, but you're turning like that for, I mean,
No.
okay. Well, first cheerleader that's not been that way, I think. On that, everybody else says, "Oh no, I'm turning watching the game," or like that. So, do you do any other sports? Do you play soccer?
No. I used to, but I don't anymore.
And Tim always asks the question: football or basketball? Do you have a preference, inside or outside cheerleading?
I like basketball better. I feel like I understand it more. And in football, I don't know what's going on at all. I barely know if we're on offense or defense. So, yeah, I like basketball more.
I have a favorite saying during basketball games when I see these long passes head down the gym. I say, "Look out, cheerleader!"
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've seen several busted in the back, the head, the legs, whatever over the years. So you like basketball better?
Yeah.
Is it because there's more basketball games in the season, or than there's the 10 or 11 football games?
I feel like I just like it better because I can understand it more and I know exactly what's going on.
Next question. Are you one of the cheerleaders that does the backflipping down the floor?
I actually just learned how to do that this year. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's part of like gymnastics to require people to do that. So do you like that aspect now?
Yeah, I love it.
And you'll be able to show us like 8 backflips full length of the
Oh,
floor?
I don't know about that, but
Well, you still got time. Basketball
working on
season's
it.
a month or so
Yeah, a
away.
lot of practice
A lot
time.
of practice time
Yeah.
to work that in there like that. What do you think about the Highlander season so far? It's been rough. It's been real rough. What about the last 4 games? What do you hear in the school talking with the football players and the cheerleaders getting together to discuss it? What's our team going to do the last 4 games?
Well, at school I don't really hear like too much about it. I think like in our heads we're like, we're going to win, you know, and then we're all pumped up, and then we get there, and then the game goes on, and like you can tell the crowd too is like down, like there's not much hop in the crowd either. So like, of course the football players are all hopped up for the game, but I feel like everyone else's energy matters too. So I just feel like it's just both ways. You just don't really know how to feel.
It is that way. A couple of weeks ago we had the 2 pep leaders of the Highlander student section on the round table. Are they doing a good job?
Yeah. I think our student section.
You're not just saying that, but
no.
Our student section has been quite active. As a matter of fact, the other night when we got not 1 but 2 touchdowns, I thought the student section was real happy to see us sort of find the end zone again.
Yeah. Especially when we won against Eagleton, our student section was really hopped up. Like, they were really good that night.
And the only thing about the Eagleton game, it rained, and everybody flooded out of the bleachers. They went to their vehicles, and they were sitting there, and they now sort of knew the game was called, but, you know, they had to yell out over the PA system, say, hey, come back. We won the game. I mean, so that was a little unusual.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
Embarrassing because nobody was there to pick up the win, you know. I mean, has there been you just had the 2 seniors. Their leadership been good this season?
Yeah, they're doing really good. And there's only 2 of them, but they're really good. I really like them both.
And there's like 2,900 juniors.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about it, guys. Our cheerleading is in good hands
set
for the
future.
Yes, it certainly is. Probably thank you.
Thank you.
But before we start the picks, can I ask Abby and then Praley as well, what are your plans for the future? Have you decided yet where you're going to go, what you're going to study,
and do you want to be a collegiate cheerleader?
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to do cheer in college.
Okay.
I'm doing cosmetology for TCAT right now, so I'm thinking about being a hairdresser.
Good deal. I need one. So, yeah, constantly. Always having trouble with that. What about you, Praley?
I'm glad you have that problem.
Yeah, we don't.
I'm going to school for nursing. That's always been my passion. I really love it. But like Abby said, I probably will not cheer in high school. I guess because like
after high school, right?
Yeah, in college.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it would be too much stress.
Gotcha.
Honestly.
Well, we're all going to need nurses too.
Most definitely.
Sure, so.
Remember my age and how soon that's coming.
That's what I was fixing to say. Some sooner than others. Yes. All right. Now we're going to get into our picks this week. Feel free to help him out since you said you don't know much about football. Well, let's let you talk with him.
A good guess is worth money.
Yep. All right. We're going to get started off. Oneida at Tellico Plains.
I think before we do this, because Kevin picks too, Kevin should tell us who he has picked, and then we'll pick, because mine are already set. It's okay. You can do this.
Well, they're already turned in.
So who is it? Oh, but we don't pick these. We don't pick Oneida, Tellico Plains, or Sky High. Yeah.
No, not on the panel,
But the cheerleaders do. Mm-hmm. Yep. So here you go.
Oneida.
All righty. Union County at Scott.
Scott.
Union?
I don't know about that one. Tim's not sure about that one.
All righty. Now we all get a pick on these. Stone Memorial at York.
Yeah. Go ahead. We're all picking. Who you
York.
got? You have York.
Yes.
Let's pass to that side of the table.
I got York.
York.
I guess I'm the only one going with Stone Memorial.
Really?
That's who I'm going with.
It promises to be a real good game because Stone is lighting it up this year.
It's going to be Stone Memorial.
Austin East at Kingston. You can go first.
Me?
Yeah.
Kingston.
Austin East.
I picked Kingston. What are you picking, Austin?
Getting him all nervous. I've got Kingston too.
Kingston.
All right.
We'll see, guys.
We will.
Yeah.
They put up 40 points last week, Austin East.
Yeah.
They can score.
Yeah.
They wouldn't play nobody.
They just can't stop nobody.
That's right.
All right, this is going to be a really tight game. Polk County at Bledsoe County.
Polk County, maybe. I'm not sure.
I think what she's saying is Polk County will lose to Bledsoe County. Bledsoe County.
I'm taking Bledsoe.
Oh,
I'm
I forgot who
taking
Polk
Bledsoe
was.
if that'll help you. Prayer.
Okay, yeah, I'll do the same.
All righty. Now, understand Ben, that's about as far as Ben will take the picks. I'm going to go ahead and do some other games as well. That's
Thank
on
you.
the pick panel.
Thank you.
Harriman at Rockwood, the oldest rivalry in the state of Tennessee.
You can go ahead.
I'll go with Rockwood.
I'll just go Rockwood.
Okay. I'm going with Rockwood on that one.
Yes, I'm going with the Rockwood Tigers as well.
Rockwood.
Okay. Oak Ridge at Farragut.
This is our side. Go ahead. What do you think?
Oak Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
We'll lose to Farragut? Yes. No, she's got Oak Ridge. I'm taking Farragut.
I've got Oak Ridge.
Oak Ridge.
Farragut.
All righty. Clinton at Lenore City.
Thank you, Praley.
You're welcome.
Not leaving me out there on my own.
Clinton at Lenore City.
Clinton.
Clinton.
I've got Clinton in that one as well.
So do I.
Glenn.
That was a tough one, though, wasn't it?
I think it's I think it's tough.
All these are pretty.
Clinton.
But Clinton's, every team that's beat them has been a really good team.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Clinton has the ability. I mean, goodness gracious.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one, Pickett County at Sale Creek.
That's the one everybody in the state's watching this weekend, I think.
I don't know why Ben pulled that one out of there. Go ahead.
Who you got, Abby?
Sales Creek.
Yes, absolutely, 100% Sale Creek.
Sale Creek.
Absolutely, Sale Creek.
Sale Creek.
You know what I mean? One of the things we got to talk to Ben about, let's quit picking games that nobody's ever heard of. I mean, you know, where are these schools located at? I mean,
Ben's obviously mailing it in when you get to this time of year. He's sending Kevin in to host.
And you're doing a fine job, Kevin. Thank you.
No, we need to tell. We do need to tell the truth. Ben is it's Rachel's final season in playing soccer, and he is doing the right thing. They have, I think, 15 soccer games this week. If I looked at the schedule right,
Four.
Yeah. So he's making sure he's where he's supposed to be. So
yeah, he's supporting her. She's a senior. So
That's right.
yeah. All right.
But would he do Toby that way in the spring?
Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out.
Yeah, I doubt it. Ladies, thank you for joining us. Appreciate your insight on the games and cheering for your teams. Do a great job out there. And I know that's not always an easy thing to do. And it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to do that week in and week out. Appreciate everything that y'all do.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break. We come back. We're going to talk a little bit about something else that we want to discuss with you, and then we'll be going to our Legends segment right after this. Welcome back to the round table. As you can see in front of us is something that we're really proud of. Tim, I'll let you explain a little bit about that.
So this is an award from the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network. Statewide, Scott Payne is the representative for our region in Knoxville, Tennessee. Scott is an Indian from a time back. I won't say way back, but Scott was a little bit ahead of me in school. But Scott was who we consulted with when we put together the PSA on suicide prevention, the 988 call number. And when I was putting that together, I wanted to make sure we didn't say anything wrong or if we had the right message going, and Scott was there to lean on and give us a lot of good information. And then he nominated us for this award, the Media Award. And there was several folks there that day. We were able to share an award stage with, there was a Memphis police officer who had prevented a suicide, prevented someone from jumping. There was a couple of people there that had lost, one had lost a sister and one had lost a son. To a bridge, the Natchez Trace Bridge, and they had fought for funding to get a barrier put up so that bridge would not be as inviting as a suicide attempt venue. So there's a lot of people doing a lot of good things in the state, and we were very thankful to be a part of that, and thankful for the nomination from Scott Payne. and it was Vladimir Inslow with the state, the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network was there, and they had us at the award ceremony. So it was very nice of them, and we're thankful. You know, a lot of people worked on that. The messaging and the wording that went into it, Ben put a lot of time into that. Greg put the commercial together, and so you know, Bo was in there as well as yourself and Mark and John L. and we just all have been touched by the mental illness issues in our lives and in those around us, and so just felt like an important thing this summer that was on our heart that we wanted to do. So thankful for the recognition.
And it's a very important message, Tim. And if you haven't seen it, you can go to the IH Sports Network and you can follow it, replay it there as much as you like, but it's a very important message.
Thank you. And we were asked I don't know if there's anything going to happen to it. I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but we were asked, would we be okay with them putting that out statewide?
Yeah. And of course, they have permission to do whatever they would like to do on that. So
that would be pretty nice. And like you said, we've had a lot of people that we know that's been touched by suicide, and just always, once again, if there's any inkling or any thought or you need help about anything, 988 is the number to call, and you can get help there, and it's completely confidential.
Text, chat.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be voice. You know, a lot of folks don't do the voice calls anymore, but they'll text and chat at 988.
All right, we're going to take another break, and then when we return,
actually, I think we're going to break.
Okay.
But before we do, programming note for next week.
Oh yes, next week we will not have a roundtable. We're going to be having a political forum for the Oneida mayor's seat. So be sure and tune in for that. That should be very, very good, very informative. Lots of times in these county elections, there's not a really good way of getting the issues out and knowing exactly how the candidates stand. This is going to be an excellent opportunity for everybody in the town of Oneida to learn what your candidate stands for and their stance. And you're going to be moderating that as well.
Right. Mayoral candidates are at 6, and I believe alderman candidates are at 7:30. They've all been invited. Most have accepted. And it's not too late to accept the invitation to come join us for the political forum next Monday.
All righty. We're going to go ahead and take a break right here. And when we return, we'll have our Legends segment right here on the Roundtable coming up right after this.
Welcome back to IHSN Legends. We're in the early 80s with Leif Jeffers and Brian Jeffers and Shane Chitwood. And we had just gotten through partial recap of 1982, which would have been junior year for Bat Jeffers and sophomore year for these two gentlemen. So the Indians had a 6-game winning streak, and 5 of those games, the last 5 of those games were shutouts. And then they ran into a speed bump down in Huntsville against the Scott Highlanders, and it's time to bounce back. It's the Coalfield Yellow Jackets.
Oh, yeah.
So you do have a big bounce back, 42-0 over Coalfield.
We won. Yeah, that's all I know.
Was that the fight game?
No, that was the next year.
That's the next year.
Okay.
Yes,
that was Coalfield at home. You just said.
I didn't say home or away. I don't have that
down.
down.
At home.
Yeah, well, because down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
here's what I remember from that game. We scored all 42 points in the first quarter.
Yep.
All of the touchdowns. We were going into the end of the field where it was a gigantic briar patch. So every time we would score, we had to jog down to the other end to kick the extra point because we didn't kick on that side, right?
Right.
After like the third touchdown, and this was, I mean, you know this, and I mean whoever was on as we jogged down, they were like arguing with each other and blaming each other for whatever had just happened, whatever calamity. We scored every possible way.
Yeah.
I blocked a punt, and Marlon Bird scored a touchdown, which nothing like that ever happened again. I don't know what was going on with Coalfield on their side of the thing, but it just turned into it was insane because we would go down to line up, and you remember Coach May, we had this weird extra point thing where we had the huddle over on the side, and there was like the center and the holder and the kicker were standing over here. And I remember those guys were like, "You go cover, and the guy'd be like, "I'm not going over there. You go over there. You want to go over there?" It was great. I mean, it was fantastic.
Did you score that game?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many?
Punt return. 65 yard. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Somebody ran an interception back. We blocked a punt for touchdown.
Yeah.
Punt return.
All
ran
in
the
first
ball.
quarter?
Yeah.
I never saw anything like it. And I actually thought we scored 49 points.
We
but
did. I had one call back.
Okay. Well, that's okay.
Coach May.
Was that the?
That's the one to revert. No, yeah, it's the
whole scissors. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's that reverse.
Yes.
I scored. I went. Kevin was in the huddle and he
Kevin
said, "What's
Bird.
the play?" He said, "Ain't nobody got to play." I said, "24 reverse."
Yeah.
Okay, I said, "All right, Matt." Okay. Yeah.
I was
Man,
there.
Coach. Then we had Scott High, I think, or somebody the next week or whatever.
Yeah, the next week you had Upperman.
Oh, we had, I was gonna say, and Coach Mady wasn't happy. I mean, I scored and it got called back.
You want me to tell you what I think you're going to remember this because I blocked my guy. It was like it was 70 or 80 yards. It was a long run. I mean, we run the play. You break. I don't think anybody was even close. I don't know if anybody even laid a hand on you. Wide open, touchdown, and I turn around and look, and there's a flag.
Yeah.
And it's Jerry.
Yeah. It was Jerry.
Because here's what he's just got his head. He's just like, and to this day, the only reason I think he didn't end up like injured or beat or something is because you were just gassed from. You had just sprinted that whole thing. We got back in the huddle, and you were saying, "Matthews, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill." And you just couldn't.
That's exactly the words he used. Exactly. Yeah.
That's the TV version.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to kill you.
I let Jerry know every time I see him about that too.
That's subtitled.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
awesome. Crazy.
So it was a great bounce back against Cofield. Didn't allow any points. No running clock in that day, right? So you had to, or did they have some kind of an agreement to cut it down? And you don't remember?
No,
first quarter. We got to remember that.
Yeah.
First quarter, 42 points.
It's always good to beat Cofield in the
I
first
think
quarter.
that's probably. I don't know if
I can't imagine that
scoring
not
that
being
many in one quarter.
No, it was quick.
Somebody needs to check that out. Make sure.
Yeah, Mark.
I'll do
Yeah.
that.
Okay, yeah. Mark's
He's on it.
Raymond Thompson would know.
He certainly
knows.
does.
So we're going to try to get Raymond on before the year's over, and his brother Curtis, and we'll pose that question to him. Just put it up front. Next week it was Upperman, and that might have been the one I was thinking about. That was so cold. I don't know, but it was 47-0. Baxter. Sorry,
Baxter.
The Baxter Bees.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you beat them 47-0. That's kind of your propelling you into the postseason. So you're going to be going into the postseason, and Oneida hadn't been in the postseason in a while.
That was the cold game. That was the
it was.
pantyhose game.
Yeah.
We all had to go ask our mothers if we could. All right, there was no Under Armour. Okay?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But Mama had pantyhose. They worked just like Under Armour. You didn't know what Under Armour was, but anyway, if you wear them, they'll keep you warm.
Yeah.
So the guys that aren't going to be playing a lot, it's going to be standing over there with the wind whip them. You had to go ask your mom. Fortunately, me and my mom was about the same size at that time. Worked out great for me. And my mom was a very small woman. Anyway, but that's the first time I ever donned the old pantyhose.
Anybody else want to fess up to that? Mark?
Is that the year? Did we end up playing Hampton in the playoffs?
We did.
Okay.
We did.
What I'm going to tell you, that happens in that game. So
Okay.
we'll
but
hold
pantyhose or no?
No.
No.
He's not going to.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Mark?
Me?
Yeah.
Steel.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Mark still a tradition for him when we go call a game.
Yeah. What I remember about the pantyhose thing, you had to be like a skilled guy to wear pantyhose. So linemen were like, we're not going to do that. So my brilliant answer to that was rub icy hot all over my arms and upper body to keep me warm.
Yeah, you should have Googled that, dude.
That was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
So good.
Ask William Smith.
Oh yeah.
If that's a good idea.
Oh,
Willie
well,
got the jock.
He
He had
it in a different area. I've never put a finger in that stuff since, ever, in however long that's been. No thanks.
All right. Week 1 of the playoffs. So Nada's back in the playoffs for the first time in a good long while. And you got the Hampton Bulldogs, and that winds up being a 28-6 win. You said you had something from that game.
Well, I was talking. It was super cold, and I don't know if you guys remember. There was actually ice forming on the grass. I mean, I remember getting down the stands and
it's brittle.
The grass breaking and that kind of thing. But I'm pretty sure that their quarterback had gotten injured or something because they were having some problems. But we handled that pretty easily.
It's 35 to nothing, wasn't it?
28-6.
Zero memories of that game.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't have a whole lot.
I'm standing over there, dude. I don't know one week to the next, It's just.
Do you remember the preparation? Was this was there did they tell you were playing the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I remember this about it, and it was a whole different playoff structure, way less teams. So I remember at some point we were practicing, time had changed, so it was getting dark an hour earlier. And I remember Coach Harper he was walking around saying, guys, there's only 11 other teams practicing football today.
Yeah.
They're in this whole state, or however many. I don't remember the number, but it was something like that, and it just was like I just remember thinking, man, this is awesome. I mean, this is.
Is this where we go to Sweetwater?
Yes, it is. So you get this win against Hampton, and then the next week, and this is Mark's brother Jerry's senior year, J.D. Burke that you've mentioned. A lot of guys that have been there for this turnaround. They've really been 2 years in the rough spot, made it through this, and now this is the payoff for these seniors getting this. And you go to Sweetwater, and you face an amazing Sweetwater Wildcat team.
Yeah, athletes, all of them.
What was the running back's name? Pernell Latham?
Yep.
Yeah. They had Terrence Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, Terrence Cleveland. Yeah, he jumped about 6 feet over my head and caught a touchdown. I was like,
well, and that was the game. Didn't it rain? It was like a mud bog the whole time. I mean, it was so. I mean, we were running that veer offense, which is quick.
Their place,
right?
Yeah, their place.
Yeah. We never got going. And it always bothered me that same, like I was talking about, not that paper picking Catholic to beat us so much.
They nailed that one.
They picked that game 19-0, and that's what it ended up being. And I remember, I at the end, I was like, "Oh, come on, let's score, let's do something."
Now, Sweetwater, did they go on?
They got beat.
They got beat the next week.
Yeah, they got beat the next week, I think. Yeah.
So, all right. So, but nonetheless, quite a year, 82. To finish up there, and then we move into your senior year, Bat, and the Indians, another great year. You mentioned the number of teams you play, but when I look at 83 and I just look down this list, you only lost 2 games in 1983, and it was to the same team.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Had no business being there in the first one.
It was.
They did that. I mean, they just. You talk about getting off on the wrong foot. You play the same old stinking team first game of the year every season.
Yeah.
Come on, give us somebody else. I'm not asking for a cupcake, but something different.
Was the score in that game? I don't.
Now the first game. Well, actually, you opened with Tazewell. So you did. You had the 38-0 win over Tazewell. Then Gatlinburg-Pittman. It was 27-6.
Yeah.
But then you go on an 8-game winning streak, which even tops what you had done the year before. Right. And in this streak, as you look right here, look down this list. You got a bunch of goose eggs and 6. It was defense, amazing defense as you knocked out Wartburg. And then I'm going to pull up the break here because this is the game you guys wanted to talk a little bit about. Knox Catholic, 28-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the one you're talking about that the News Sentinel had you all as underdogs, and they were coming up here?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
More on that one.
You set the tone on the game. You
beat the brakes off of them. Let's go. Start
we was all fired. Everybody was fired up. I mean, I mean, like he was talking about earlier, because the fridge and just, they thought we were a bunch of hicks, they're going to come run all over us.
Well, the way they showed up, laughing at us and stuff.
Yeah.
After having been beaten by you the year before.
Yeah. They thought they had
and
something special.
The linemen didn't even.
I
we
don't
didn't even see that part. I mean, I never knew that until you were saying that about how they come off the bus and were.
I think this was like first group that went down was like punt and kick returns and stuff like that.
Right.
And we're coming back up and they're giggling and going on, and I didn't say it very well.
Was there something about a truck? They drove a truck across the field or something like that?
I don't remember.
That was somewhere.
Somewhere across the field, like across the end zone down there.
Yeah, I think.
Like before the game?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like I can remember.
Where would they have put it?
A little bit.
I don't know, but Kevin was talking something about that, and he mentioned something about that and said Coach May was livid.
So now you said bat set the tone. What do you mean?
Oh, that opening kick return.
Okay.
Just shut them up right off the bat.
And
there's a couple other little things that happened that was pretty cool too.
That's the classic. In a game like that, you just jump them and don't let off. We didn't let off the gas.
No.
I mean, it was probably greatest win I ever was part of.
Oh, it's fun.
Playing both ways, dominating. I mean, it was crazy. And you
ever heard the term? We stuck them under the fence.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that.
That actually happened.
Yeah, Preston Warren, me and Brian are on punt cover, two outside guys.
Yeah,
he's back there by himself, and he deliberately stands there with that ball in front of him and waits on us to get there, thinking he's going to pick it up
and
juke
us.
Now, Preston Warren, for those who may not know, wound up playing for the University of Tennessee.
Yep, exactly.
Like the next couple of years, he would be a big feature of that team. And I remember a game where y'all weren't there anymore, but Michael Smith versus Preston Warren was kind of the billing on that one. But go back, Preston Warren, he let it sit there?
He let it sit there till we got this close to him and decides to pick it up.
And he does it like that.
Under the fence.
Yeah.
Hit him so hard he
and the ball went like 90. You got the ball, didn't you?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm stoked over this hit.
It's either you or Phil Newport. Either one got it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I just hit him helmet to helmet. I mean, it wasn't nothing but helmet to helmet. And it just flew up in the air. Yeah, that was
legal
better.
at the time.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Totally legal.
Yep.
Yeah. That was
should be legal now.
That's better. That's better than
it's a different conversation.
The kickoff. Yeah. The kickoff return even.
All right. So did you have something else?
No.
Okay. All right. Big win over Catholic. Next week, Sunbright 18-8. You let them score, but probably coming down off of that high a little bit.
Yeah. They were actually.
That was a good team.
They were.
All right.
The following year, they are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But they are.
This year wasn't that the big Dusty? Was that the Dust game?
Down there.
Yeah.
This game was down there, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Kevin,
I'm pretty sure.
Kevin was quarterback.
Yeah.
So I've got a great and I've told Kevin this 5 times, and so we were actually behind. I think it was like 8-6. We looked at the film later. This is the game they got 5 plays down at the inside the goal line. I mean inside the 10, and had scored, and we're up. I'm pretty sure it was 8-6, and it was a fist fight game. I mean, it was tough, and I don't know if you guys remember this way I do, but Kevin it was like an option play, and he was coming to the right, which was like off of where I was at, which is why I remember. I blocked this guy. We were exhausted. We were getting tired. It was like late in the game. Block my guy. He falls down. I fall down on top of him, and I look up, and I see Kevin like slowly working his way down the field, and that was kind of a running gag that he didn't have any speed or anything like that.
He was fast.
But he just kept dodging people and messing around. I don't know how long the run was. Scored a touchdown. I mean, it took long enough. I got up and was like running and like got tangled up with another guy. Greatest, and I've said this to him, telling him about it since then, like later. If I could have got to him, I would have kissed him right on the mouth for doing that. I mean, when we ended up going up 14-8 or something, or what was the final?
18-8.
Okay. Well, somehow we, however the score worked out, but that
Could have
that
been
put
two
us
safeties.
ahead.
You don't know.
It was crazy. But
surely we didn't miss 3 extra points. Did
Max Sperling, right?
Max
Sperling.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
They had, big, tough
great
dude.
big leg.
Yeah.
Fullback.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They had a Sperling guy playing for like 11 years, seems like.
Yeah.
Too.
Probably him.
Brothers or something. I forgot about that.
You get a win against Monterey, pretty big, 43-6, and then you got
Huge.
Knox Webb.
Let's go back to Monterey.
Okay, let's do it.
It's the only game I ever did anything in my life.
There you go. Let's hear it.
Skip that.
Let me get him. Yeah, I wanted to get his interception record.
Yeah.
Shane gets 3 in a game.
I was the leading receiver for Monterey that night.
Yeah. 3.
3 interceptions.
3 in one game, man.
3 in one game.
But literally, I'm just like, it wasn't like I was any kind of, awesome player. But, yeah, that was the most memorable game of my life.
Yeah, that was.
Because it comes to an end the very next week. But anyway, that was a great game.
So was that there or here at home?
That was at Monterey.
At Monterey.
Was that the game where the lights go off?
Yes.
Yeah.
I scored a touchdown, too. The second-team offense got to go in, and I scored on a little option. Jimmy was second-team quarterback at the time.
Right.
And we ran a little option play to the left, 24 yards, I think it was. It's funny how you remember
that's right.
About yourself.
Yeah.
Kind of
Well, I remember that.
Anyway.
The thing I remember real clear about that game, before the game and the pregame stuff, I mean, they were huge, big athletes, good looking, strong, looked like it. And the first play, I hit the guy, I don't even remember if I was offense or defense, but I hit this guy who looked like like he played college football somewhere, and he made the weirdest noise and just crumbled up like it was like a little, and I thought, we're going to kill these guys. This is great. And that's how it worked out. Yeah. So, I don't know what was going on with that, but
that was terrible.
They looked good, but they were not good.
Next week was Knox Webb, a 6-0 win.
That was a tough game.
That was and that was at 09.
How often did they threaten?
They threatened 2 or 3 different times.
Who scored?
It's muddy.
Who scored the touchdown?
Let's see, Dale.
Dale Martin.
Yeah.
Hadn't been mentioned yet tonight, but what a player, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
24.
Dale started out as a lineman for he was for Banks.
Really?
Never thought he'd.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That Monday of the Webb game, let's see, it's first team offense against second team defense, and Dale was starting tailback at this time.
Yep.
Mark Posey is second team middle linebacker, and I'm probably strong safety second team. Dale comes through there. I hit him from the side. Posey hits him from the back and smashes this part of my hand up again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm done. So that great game at Monterey was the highlight of my season.
So you were out.
I'm out the rest of the year. Yeah.
So who replaced you at corner?
Man, I don't know. Jimmy May?
Yeah.
Probably.
Jimmy May.
Yeah.
So the freshman.
Yeah.
Right? He's freshman that year?
Oh, yeah. Who do you trust? Your own son.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, no disrespect there. I mean, that's true. Jimmy got put in some situations at times.
As a freshman,
yeah. He did. And
what was he? I thought, wasn't he? He was a freshman our senior year, wasn't he? Or was it sophomore?
Sophomore.
No, he was,
okay.
My senior year, he was a freshman.
All right, that's probably right.
All right, so you got Williamsburg next. It's a 14-6 win.
then the girl kicker.
Yeah, I had a girl kicker. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to take her out.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It was just, he was
Like on a date?
He said it all.
No, not a date.
Yeah, no. He announced
He
it
wanted to knock her
everywhere,
out.
Yeah.
all week
He
long.
wanted to knock her out.
Yeah. Well, they put her in
then
the
take her on a
game.
date.
I saw her, kicking earlier, and she wasn't kicking them from like 20 yards. And it was like a 35-yard field goal, and I told everybody, this is going to be a fake. It's going to be fake. And sure enough, they got up there and fake. I come that close to, hitting her head, but no. Missed.
Then another one of those helmet.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah.
Legal.
Yeah.
Right.
And
He's like
still
Jack
should be,
Tatum.
according to.
Yeah.
our man-in-law.
That's a tough game.
The only thing that prevented that from happening was the fact that Jim May was standing right there on the sideline. That would not went over well with him, especially from this guy.
So next is Oakdale and then Coalfield, and these are big wins: 42-9 over Oakdale and 35-6 over Coalfield.
Poured the rain at Oakdale.
Yeah. That's right. That Oakdale, that was a
man.
mud ball.
Yeah, it was.
Wet.
Yeah.
You've won 8 in a row. No, did you have something?
No.
Okay. 8 in a row, and now for the second year in a row, your playoff qualifiers. But this time in the first round, it's Gatlinburg-Pittman. Where is this game?
At
GP.
Pittman.
All right. So it winds up being a 24-12, but walk us through it. Was it that close? Was it closer?
I wasn't there.
What do you
I was
remember?
there, but I wasn't playing.
I feel like it was closer.
Yeah.
This is your final game,
we
right?
we hung in there. Sowen brothers. Woody and Heath.
Heath
Well,
was one.
Yeah, they're
That
both there
Woody. Yeah.
because the next year Woody goes on to Ole Miss.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
Heath was a sophomore.
Heath runs wild on, what would have
Heath
been
ended
us.
up playing
but
at
anyway.
UT when I was there too, which caused a little. Well, that's a whole other thing, but he walked on at Tennessee.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
I didn't realize
he
that.
was good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And just we couldn't get no offense going. Yeah, that game.
I remember we had a touchdown. It was called back. Dale. He ran I don't remember the play, but it was something up the middle. They were just tough. I mean, they were hard to move, and I remember offense and defense both on the line. I mean, it was just every play was a war. I mean, it was just a struggle.
Was Mark Posey fullback that year?
Yeah.
Remember that
Yeah.
forward
He
progress,
played-
that early whistle they did on us?
Mm-hmm.
Mark got bunched up and then busted it to the
out,
outside,
yeah.
and the referee blew the
They'd
whistle,
already,
and
or
I mean,
claimed-
he was
Was
gone.
that game? Was that one?
They claimed that I don't remember hearing the whistle, but I know what you're. They said
that would have changed that ball game.
Oh, it would have.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Now, back graduates here. We're going to take a break. When we come back,
We need to.
it's going to be Shane and Lee's
goes to hell after
senior
that.
year, coming off of back-to-back playoff appearances.
Let's just go ahead and wrap it up.
We will be back in just a moment. You're watching the IHSN Legends.
Sorry, but.
Welcome back to IHSN Legends. I don't throw anything away, and I was in middle school still at the time, but 84 annual right here is what I've got. And so since 84 was the year that Brian Bat Jeffers graduated, he wrote a senior will.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And I was just going to see, Bat, if you would just share with folks what you put in your senior will.
Gotta find it here. There's Keith right here. Oh my goodness, I forgot I even got called that. Brian Bat Hiawatha Mustafa Muhammad Jeffers bequeath my lightning quick 440 speed and all my legal tactics on the field to Rollo Wayne Southside Royston in hopes that he will carry on the Southside tradition.
And he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he had
man.
about 1 million tackles that next year, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So now you graduated that year, and you said you went into the infantry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Oneida football prepared you for that.
Oh yeah, some practice is a lot harder than the Army. Yeah.
How many years did you serve?
I served. I was in the regular Army 3 years, and then National Guard 10. I mean 8.
Oh yeah.
And so where did you spend your time?
Fort Benning, Georgia, and Fort Knox, Kentucky. Most of it.
All right. So you guys lose Bat Jeffers, most dynamic weapon on the team. I think you would agree. And we also lose our quarterback, Kevin Bird, and we move into 19.
Rock.
I'm sorry.
Don't forget Rock.
Keith Rock Henry.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Miller.
Yeah.
Greg Miller. Yep. So
Dale Martin.
The list goes on.
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of losses. Still a lot of talent still there, though. I mean, obviously, but tough schedule. And so, in this year, I mean, you guys at least two talented members. They're here tonight.
Okay, 2.
All right. So Oneida's back-to-back playoff appearances, but we go into 1984, the season 84. You guys graduate in 85, and it starts off with a win against Tazewell. It's 24-21 against this team. What do you remember about game 1 of your senior year? Well,
I remember I was listening to it on the radio.
Right.
With excruciating pain shooting through my leg.
What had occurred? Share with everybody.
So we played the Jamboree, and then 2 days later I was you really want me to talk about this?
Yeah, everybody wants to know,
2 days later I was at my grandma's house, my brother Abe and I, he was a year behind me. He's a junior. And so this is the Sunday before the first game of the season.
Okay.
It's an Olympic year. Don't forget that.
Wrestling and, there's a lot of stuff.
That's what brought it on. Yeah.
I picked him up at some point. I had him up over my head and sort of started to fall backwards and stepped in the hole and basically shattered my right leg. Dislocated my ankle, blew it out, broke my, I don't know what the bones are. The smaller bone in my lower leg. And
fibula?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Sure.
Whatever.
I'm not a doctor. I play one on TV, I guess.
So ended up, it all had to be, surgically put back together. And I was out. Couldn't bear any weight on it for 12 weeks, I think, which was effectively the whole season. And 2 games deep into the playoffs, if we had
a chance.
If we had to worry about being in the playoffs. It was a terrible thing for me personally. It's your senior year. You look forward to that forever, and then it's,
especially given the momentum that has built.
Right.
Shane,
now, there were other issues. And I don't want to, there were other issues, I'll just say. So,
yeah,
I don't know what we would have done if everything had gone perfectly.
It's hard to know.
Well, basically, every single play that we had designed to go to the right was garbage from this point. Honestly. But I'm not blaming you any longer. It's been long enough.
There was a time.
It's been long enough. Yeah.
Great. That's great.
No, honestly, we were young at some skill positions. We were, Jimmy
Jimmy May, sophomore quarterback, pushed into duty. Doesn't have a right tackle to protect him.
Yep.
And like I say, a lot of it.
And his backup, sadly, is me. And he missed 1 snap.
Had you played quarterback before?
No.
So you had just.
I was just that good.
I understand.
I'm joking. Okay. No, that was something that Harper, Coach Harper, and Coach May just came up with because, it was essentially not going to be a need for me, but, just in case. And Jimmy got his finger smashed between 2 helmets and missed 1 snap because I really thought, right, baby, there's my shot, and no, it was 1 snap. Actually, it was almost a snap, and Coach May calls a timeout. And then Jimmy comes back in. So I got to pretend to walk to the line.
Call a play in the huddle.
Yeah. And but anyway, it would have been disastrous, I'm sure.
So offensively challenged. It was 7 games. You look down the list, 7 games, and 20 points were scored by Oneida in those 7 games. So it's a tough stretch, a tough run. There, and it includes Gatlinburg, Pittman, Wartburg, Knox Catholic, Sunbright, Monterey, Webb, and Williamsburg, Kentucky. So in the midst of this rough stretch, you look at those, and then you get this road game at Knox Catholic that Mark and I have discussed. You had beaten them 2 straight years, and you talked about the joy you all had in the beatdown you had given them the year before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we're again down at Evans Collins Field.
Yeah.
I remember, I was in the band at the time, and we're at pregame, and they have a couple of decorated athletes at the time. One is Chris Coffey, and one is Preston Warren. And Chris Coffey, I believe, was maybe a junior that year. And he is tasked with, being at Knox Catholic, he is tasked with the opening prayer. And who wants to take it from there? Because that's, I remember being just.
I don't remember the front end of the prayer, but the ending version of that, there was no "in Jesus' name" or anything. It was, "And God, please help us to kick Oneida's butt. Amen."
That's right.
And
it was so quiet.
God was a Catholic fan that night because they did proceed to kick our butt that night. But Michael was out
Smith
that game. I got to start at tailback and had 119 yards rushing. I'm sorry, I still remember that.
Yeah,
because that was one of those few. But we ran 39.
No, it was only 14-0. It wasn't like they thrashed you guys.
Yeah,
it was 14-0.
But
and I remember watching that and watching you play that. That was the first game I had actually physically attended after the ridiculous injury. And I don't how deep in the season was that?
This would be game number 4, it looks like.
So that's the first time I was even able to like get around on crutches to get. Mate, I had been in Knoxville at a doctor's appointment that day, and we came through there and came to the game.
Just swing by.
And you're exactly right about the prayer. I mean, I remember those exact words.
Yes. Yeah, I remember those exact words.
I didn't hear what you said.
You might as well swing by.
Well, I didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah. Broke leg and all.
God.
So, do you remember down in the locker room? I think it was wasn't it underneath the stadium?
It was, yeah.
Do you remember the big John Tate equipment? They had it in a cage over there, and there was a bunch of stuff over there that had big John Tate.
I don't remember that. Must have been on the opposite end. I was down there dodging. It was a lot of water dripping.
You wasn't down. You wasn't
a
down
Roman
there.
Coliseum type things.
I was down there with the peons. I was a freshman.
Yeah.
And I was down there with the peons. That's where we
I
dressed.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Nobody brought that to anybody's attention.
We weren't allowed to speak.
Yeah, that's true.
By this point, I mean, honestly, by this point in the season, you said this was game 1.
4.
Yeah, I mean, you could lie, but being honest about it, we're probably dreading this really bad. I do remember the Gatlinburg game, going back up there a few weeks, me and James Lovett, both on defense, talking about we wish this would get over with. They were awesome.
34-7 was
and we were not, you know. So, and we were ready for that game to be, you know, that clock to tick off and move on.
Now,
because
I was just going to put a little ending on that story about the prayer that was offered up there at Knox Catholic. To my memory, Coach, not Meskey. That's not right. What was
David
the Catholic?
Meskey?
He was Webb.
That's Webb.
I don't remember.
Dan,
the guy that came from TSD. He had been at TSD and he came to Catholic.
Yeah, we'll fill up the rest of these minutes if I try to dwell on that. But the coach had Chris Coffey write a letter. If I remember correctly, there was a letter that was sent to Oneida of apology for that. Now, maybe that's been a while.
I don't remember that or know anything about it, and I refuse to give him any acknowledgement of that.
You're not accepting that letter of
no apology.
Nope.
No apology accepted.
No thanks.
Yeah. Now, the next year when he's a senior and Preston Warren's a senior and they come to Oneida, y'all are all gone. But it was a feature game. It was front of the News Sentinel, and it was quite a battle. But anyway, Michael Smith didn't show up, so we're not even going to talk about that one. That's on him. We'll catch him at a later date, right?
Do you remember that game?
Oh, I do.
Let's turn the tables on. So what happened in that?
We beat him.
7-6. John Lay blocked the extra point.
Sure did.
John Lay?
John Lay?
That's right.
I actually remember that.
John was originally in our class.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he stayed back for
we had to cut him.
Academic reasons. Not. It used to be a thing, man. You could just, if you wanted to, you could just stay back and have another 8th grade year.
So, I wish I'd have knew that.
So
that's what he did. He played. At the end of our 8th grade year, he stayed and played.
I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
So now, Shane, I don't want you to feel like we're running through this because these two guys are out, but you're still going in this '84 season. But you did finish with a couple of wins. Jellicoe and Coalfield were a couple of big wins at the end of that year to try to get some momentum.
What
and
was that Cofield score? Do you remember?
That Cofield score was 35-12. Did you ever lose to Cofield?
Never.
I know that's the answer y'all all love, or the question y'all love.
I've relayed when Lambert was there. I relayed that to him. You know, I take pride in that because I don't know how it is now. I know they got handled this year, but anyway, yeah, I never lost to Cofield, and I'm proud of that. Yep. Really proud.
So here's my question, because we've talked about a lot of the, who was that the rival? If you say number one rival of Oneida when I was in school, who was it?
No doubt, it's Cofield.
Cofield, yeah.
Pittman.
Well, I understand what you're.
Well, we beat the brakes off Cofield back then. So I mean, not that year. I mean, we were not supposed to win that last game against Cofield. But anyway,
the reason
you pointed to that game, Pittman.
Yeah,
you wanted to get over that hump.
Oh yeah, it was like he said. Yeah, just get this game over with.
The reason I think the Cofield thing sticks in my mind is because we were down there. I think was it our junior year? We had the big fight down there.
Yeah,
that was just.
It was Coach May's 100th win at Oneida.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
we were presenting him with a football that we'd all signed, and I don't know. Ken Davidson was an assistant back then, and he's pretty good in karate, evidently.
He became famous after.
He became Bruce Lee after that game.
Let's hear some more about.
I'll give you my version of the thing breaking loose, which is the dude
it's at Cofield.
Cofield. The guy I was playing against was just cheap shotting me every play. I mean, it was to the point that I actually was saying to the referee as we'd come back to the huddle, Mr. Referee, whatever number he was, this guy's punching, he's grabbing, he's doing whatever was happening. The ref's like, yeah, play ball, that kind of thing. And he ended up, the thing escalated into him basically punching and taking a swing, and then it just emptied. I mean, it was close to our sidelines. It was just a brawl. I mean,
and Coach D put on a clinic.
Show
his karate skills.
And and he took a lot of heat because at some point he, got into a stand. Surrounded. You remember JD? There was somebody made a kind of a comedy thing.
Oh yeah, he made a comedy. Yeah.
He said that, and this didn't actually happen, but his version of it was something like he'd go into this karate stand and say, "They presented a challenge."
Yeah.
Like that, and then it all broke loose.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man,
Coach Davidson was funny.
Yep. You keep going. We're just going to get something else here in a minute. Yeah. We got the 85 annual.
Yeah.
And
cheesy edition.
And before I move to my lightning round of questions, I'm gonna let Shane Chitwood read his. I
don't know. You've still got those glasses.
Will and Testament.
Here you go.
Glasses. I don't know if I did one or not.
All right, Stace, if you're watching this, I've loved you for a long time. You remember that, okay? Let me find where am I? Here I am. I, Shane Chitwood, being of sound mind. Wait a minute. Being of sound body, but not mind, and being the nice guy that I am, will all of my love to Stacy E. Smith.
Aww.
In hopes that she will still remember me next year when I'm gone. Well,
she forgot.
She got me back. She married me, and she's still hanging around, man, like 33 years. So yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you.
I read that last night, and I thought that is so cool.
That's my best friend, man.
Cool.
Awesome. And now I'm Mr. Leaf.
Do I have
Mr. Leaf Jeffers. Yes, you're in there. Let's hear yours.
See.
Do you remember it?
We haven't met Lisa at this point, right? Yeah.
No.
Okay. Dang it. Maybe you put something macho in there. I don't know.
Somebody's going to have to help me find it. I can't even.
It's L-E.
It's alphabetically done.
Yeah. By first name?
Nope, by last name.
Oh, here we go. I, Leaf Jeffers, being more or less of a sound mind, do hereby bequeath my blazing speed to Mark Matthews, a razor to the dude. Who was the dude? I don't remember.
This is before the movie, right?
Yeah.
And my crutches to my loving brother Abe. Oh, that's pretty cool. So it's actually his fault. No, it's not my fault.
So, Mark, what did you do with that blazing speed?
It never helped me.
Really?
No, it didn't.
That's a shock to me.
All-state accolades or anything.
Instead of breaking my leg, I broke my arm.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Couldn't even do that right.
I couldn't.
Every one of us broke bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lightning round. I'm gonna go. We're just gonna go this way. All right. Best you can recollect. Most surprising win. When you guys got that it surprised even you that you won that game that night.
I'm going back to that win down there at Upperman or Baxter.
Okay.
Because, I mean, to my recollection, we were not playing well at halftime. We were not winning the ball game, and you just had to be there for Coach May to eat your lunch. You just had to be there. And we went out a different team and turned it around. And that's what I say kind of started the whole winning thing,
22-14 final. Pat, what do you got?
Who's the next? Cofield after that?
Actually, let's see. After that was Gatlinburg.
Okay. I think, well, my sophomore year, Cofield, we went down there and
24-8.
Yeah, that's
when they were district champs already.
Yeah, they were. They had a running back. I can't remember his name. He
Tony
was
Bird.
All-state or something. So, yeah, we shut them down.
So that was the most surprising win.
Yeah.
Yep. What about you, Lee?
I didn't play in that game a lot, but I think I'm going to agree with Bad on that one because really we were not expected to even be in that game. And I remember a lot of the conversation, like going down there, was, okay, we're not going anywhere, but dadgummit, we're going to take these guys out. Yeah. I mean, if we get a chance, we're going to take them down. And I feel like at the time I was thinking that might put them out of the playoffs, but maybe
they had already
clinched. I don't know if it did. They were already in.
They had already clinched.
Yeah.
But when
that was a game that was going to be on Halloween, and they moved it to Thursday or something. That was bizarre. Now, the most surprising outcome, oddly enough, also a Cofield game, was that 42-0 thing.
Most surprising quarter, you could even say. Right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, worst loss.
Golly. That GP my senior year was pretty brutal, man. I mean, we could do no right.
34-7.
Yeah, I don't even remember the 7 or who. Probably was Michael, if I was a betting man. But yeah, it was terrible.
Bad worst loss.
Oh, Scott High. Yeah, in my junior year. Yeah.
Okay. That was a 6 or 7-0.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
24-0.
24-0. Yeah. Okay. Year before that was 7-0. What do you got?
I'm gonna say the year before you're talking about in the playoffs with Gatlinburg when we went
up there.
Year. Yeah.
Okay. That was 24-12.
That was
yeah. We were missing a pretty talented cornerbacks. What it was. Yeah. Yeah. It's exactly.
It hinged on that.
I remember that in the sentence.
Yeah.
What about an opponent? If you can narrow it down to one that you it was the toughest opponent you went up against, who they played for, and if you don't remember the name, that's fine. Just describe who they played for, who it was. Toughest opponent.
The most, what's the word I'm looking for here? This Heath Sowen kid. From the moment from the moment he got the ball, he screamed to the top of his lungs until he was down. That was kind of weird, man. I mean, not only is he running over our blanks, but he's doing it with this loud noise coming out of his body. It's like, that was pretty intimidating. I mean, to say the least. And I remember that very well.
Who you got?
David Lau, Scott High. I mean, they run that fast. 35 and
that quick sweep.
Yeah,
jet
and
sweep,
he pounded my head all night long, and I tried my best to put him in the hospital, and he come closer to putting me there.
He's a delivery driver and runs our route over there in Lake City.
Oh,
yeah, David. He delivers to us all the time.
He's tough as they come, man.
All right, Lee, who you got?
I can't remember an individual, but I'm going to say just Gatlinburg in general. I mean, every game I remember playing against those guys was just a war, and we never beat them.
No. Benny Hammonds brought premier stuff. I mean, he didn't show up, half loaded.
All right. as best you can for G-rated TV. Take me to the locker room. That Oneida locker room. What was it like before a game? What did you have music? What was it like? What I imagine Coach May probably didn't allow music.
No, we had it.
He wasn't in there.
Let's hear about it.
Man, I don't know why, because as soon as I stopped playing football, I stopped listening to the Gap Band and Prince and all those guys. That's the music we listen to, and it just
Prince,
got handed
1999.
down. Yeah, year after year after year. And Prince had this one song.
Controversy.
No, something about sitting in the back of the theater.
Oh,
but anyway,
okay,
that one. And you don't play that one. If Coach May hears that, we're done.
I
It's over.
don't have any idea what they're talking about.
He didn't allow any vulgarity or anything like that. So if that song came on, turn it off. But that's the kind of music we listen to. I mean, that's kind of what it was all about. I mean, it was until he came in for pregame. I mean, it was loose.
Well, that Gap Band was inherited. I can tell you. He's still.
Oh, yeah.
Dropping the bomb on people.
Dropped the bomb on me. Yeah, man.
What about that? You remember anything else about that?
Yeah, I mean, he nailed it. The soul music back then, that's what we listened to.
What about you, Lee?
I remember that too. I don't have any. I mean, there wasn't any, that's true, and that's what was happening. I don't have any real. All I remember is like pregame being sick as a dog and feeling like the world was about to end and trying to walk around and get your head together.
Okay, you start this one. What about after the game? Game's over, win or loss, whatever it is, where are you going? What are you doing?
I always just went home. I mean, I know that's not a great story.
You didn't go to
sock hop? And listen to the Gap Band?
Stand on there wasn't no dancing going on, but I'd stand over there.
Yeah, nobody knew how to dance.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what
I was
you
pretty
guys
sheltered.
I mean, that'd be one or two times, but what else would you do?
Go shoot mailboxes.
Oh.
Stuff like that, yeah.
Well, my junior year, I had a girlfriend, so she was usually standing there waiting on me, so I pretty much went down. Yeah.
Okay.
Married her, by the way.
There we go.
So,
what about if you could come to a consensus on who was the team clown? I think I know this answer.
JD.
He had all the stories. We got storytelling coming up at Big South Fork this weekend. He could keep people wrapped up for hours, couldn't he?
Yeah. JD or Greg Miller.
Yeah.
Greg was good.
Yeah.
His was a different type of humor.
Dark humor.
It was good. Yeah.
JD was the impersonator.
Yeah.
But, I was going to say best impression of Coach May, no doubt.
Oh, JD.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he can do all of them, though.
Yeah.
Hands down, yeah.
Mr. Who was the shop teacher?
Keyseeker.
Yeah. The Superman photo, Superman pictures somebody drew on the wall. Yeah.
Oh, man.
He done
Sorry, we can't go anymore.
Okay.
Dover. Also.
Mr. Dover. That was him. That's who I'm talking
about.
Well,
who was Keyseeker?
I don't
he
know.
was a shop teacher the next year.
Dover was.
Yeah.
He was something else.
Somebody drew a picture of Superman on the wall in Mr. Dover's class, and according to Mr. Dover, they didn't even put any pants on him. And you have to hear JD do that one. That was
We got to get JD on.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be a
All
whole
right.
show.
Yeah, it would.
Shane, who was a sneaky good, underrated player on the teams you played on?
Sneaky good, underrated. Golly. I should have looked over the roster.
If somebody else comes up with one first, go for it.
Man.
Mark is hoping you're going to say him, but
Oh.
we're not going to put Mark in it. Just
ain't going to happen.
I'd say John Webb. He didn't get a whole lot of accolades, stuff he done, but he's always making good blocks. Always there on time.
Okay.
Man.
Sneaky good. I'm not even thinking of senior year because
we
scored a total of 20 points the whole season there. So anyway, there was no sneaky or good.
If one comes to you, we'll come back to it. Let's move.
Yeah,
who was like a team psychologist? Who did people go to for advice on this team? Who was the elder that people looked up to and talked to?
Rock.
Rock?
Yeah.
Until he lost it.
until
down there that day.
Yeah.
The high
he
point
was a
hat
psychiatrist.
Hat dance. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was.
then he was looking for one after
Yeah.
that. God rest his soul. I mean,
Yes.
I miss Rock, man. I took it personal when he went to Cofield, and I regret that now. But yeah, I hated that. I hated when he went down there. I hated that he's
It's
gone.
hard not to.
Yeah. I hated that he's gone, man. That's sad. And he's part of that 80s team, and we need to at least say his name and remember him.
Absolutely. What about, and I think you've been through the worst part of practice and things like that. Talk a little bit about the fans. One thing that's kind of tied this thing together through a lot of, whether it's 50s, 60s, these guys in the later years, and Sparky Woods kind of identified it as the click of the cleats as he walked from the locker room. And I can remember hearing this from being in the band room. Y'all would come by.
Oh, yeah.
You would hear the cleats clicking and going down those steps and getting into that tunnel and the Oneida fans. And can you talk a little bit about that, or is it hard to even put into words?
Oh, the town shut down. I mean, really, back then, the town, everybody was at the game.
Orange Crush.
And even my senior year when we were absolutely horrendous, just terrible, people still came, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand why, but they did. It wasn't just parents up there, you know. It was people that just always came to the games. So that was pretty cool.
And when we were there, of course, the locker room was up under where I guess
the gym,
the old gym, or
yeah.
whatever. So you had a lot longer
Right.
walk down to the game, and it really, to me, I mean, I remember it just, you had enough time to let it really would like crystallize that, okay, I'm going to war.
You had to put your
I'm
helmet on
walking from
before we
here.
left the building,
Right.
and you didn't take it off until you got
And there was
back in the locker room.
Wasn't any like talking to people or family or anything. It was business.
That's a lot of
And it was time
Harper. Harper beat that in our skulls.
Yep,
You know, a lot of
that's
that
right.
going to war stuff.
Yeah, that's right. And it's a good mentality for. I mean, I
Get
think
focused.
it's
Yeah.
effective for
Exactly.
me. I mean, that's all that existed for that couple of hours.
Yeah, it's the only thing that mattered.
Yeah.
What's the biggest difference that you see in today and then when you played?
Honestly, I would like to talk to. I mean, I'm not picking on anybody, but I mean, talk to a couple of those guys that played Cofield this year and got blown out. Was it 33-0 or something like that? And I would hold my answer to that question until I actually see how did that affect you. You know, I'm not picking on those kids, but you know anybody. You know, but that did that motivate you guys the following week, or did that bring out the worst in you and you took a dive? You know, how did that should have really hurt. No, that would have hurt us severely.
Right.
How does it affect you? Wait for the answer, and then I'll answer your question. You know, I do. Does it hurt?
Yeah.
There you go. Like it did, or would us? Yeah. I've got over that senior season now. To where I could tell you it was embarrassing. Years later, when Coach Lambert's oldest son played up here, they had a season and tied us for the worst. I was never so glad to see them have a 3-7 season in my entire life. That's terrible to say, but it took some of that. We split that monkey, you know.
Gotcha.
Okay. I was never so glad to see that happen. I'm pretty sure that's when it was. I may be wrong, but it was somewhere in Coach Lambert's oldest son's history up here.
Mm-hmm.
And it bothered me that bad. You know, you're the worst team ever. You know, in a long time. Let's say it.
Not
ever.
ever.
In
Not
a
ever.
long time.
Right.
Yeah, the worst.
Yeah.
That's how it affects you, man. I mean,
What about you guys? The difference.
When we had recess, I mean, from elementary to 12th grade, we played in between the buildings, and there's a lot of people got concussions and stuff outside,
And didn't know it.
and kids are stronger nowadays. Weight programs and stuff. But I mean, you don't see a kid throwing a football at the park or anything anymore. But I mean, I think we really loved it.
Yeah, and kind of along those lines, to me, the biggest difference that I see is just the physicality. Everybody's bigger, everybody's faster. It's really strange. I mean, so our senior year, I was the biggest guy on the team, and I probably weighed 230.
Yeah. And you're also sitting on the bench, but anyway.
Yeah, and I may have been the only. I probably was the only person over 200 pounds.
No, wait, you didn't show up till the Catholic game. You weren't even on the bench.
I never got to be on the bench.
My goodness!
You know, in the year before that, I think Greg Miller and I were the two biggest guys, and we both weighed just over 200 pounds.
Yeah. Do you remember when the Oakdale kid pulled him down from behind and Miller landed on him?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It was sad.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
That little feller, man, he couldn't get a breath. He
It's a
couldn't have bought one, you know, because Miller came all his weight down and just crushed this little kid.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't know how big they are now or what the average weight or any. I mean, I'm not trying, but they're way bigger and stronger than we ever
We got
were.
a couple of kids, probably 280, 290 now.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
You good?
Yeah.
I just want to give you a chance to wrap it up individually. And again, I'm going to go with seniority first. Couple of spur questions that I want to put out there. And it's this. Is there something you've carried, and I think you've talked about this. If you talked about it, that's fine, but something you've carried with you every day since that you got from being an Oneida Indian, and then also if there's anybody else you want to give a shout out to or mention, I want to give you a chance to do that. Brian Bat Jeffers.
Okay, here's seniority. I'm having a senior moment.
Gotcha.
Repeat the first part.
The first part is there something you carried with you out of it? You talked about going into boot camp and you were in better shape. Is there other things you carry with you throughout life from being?
Oh yeah, I mean to this day, I mean, yeah, I mean I'm proud. I mean to be an Indian. I mean, I work at the Job Corps up in Kentucky, and I get pictures out, on my phone, show these kids, and I always tell them a big story like we're doing now and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was tough, and yeah, I mean, I'm glad we all went through it.
Anybody else you want to mention tonight?
I'm trying to think of anybody we forgot. Maybe Ricky Chambers. Yeah, another Southsider. I forgot to mention him. So.
All right. Shane Chitwood.
Man, I'm kicking this thing but the thing that I've carried with me. I'm sorry, is I never lost a Schofield, man. I mean, when you have to tie 4 years together and you have a senior season like we did, what is the common thing going on here? I never lost to these guys. I can tell you that right now. And I was, like I've said, I was extremely proud of that. Because that was that's who arch enemy, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know why. I don't know. That had to be passed down. I mean, they didn't do anything to me personally,
Right. Well, you passed it on too. I can tell you. I hear about that all the time.
Yeah, but as far as mentioning somebody, golly, I'm going to take that time to say this. I want to thank IHSN, whoever's putting this. I'm more excited about getting to see these guys than I haven't seen in ever. Yeah. And I see Leaf a lot through work and stuff, but I hadn't seen Brian in I don't know how long. And just the fact of the recognition of the 80s, and even though I had to whine and cry but yeah, the opportunity to be just to be here, even if I was sitting I would just be happy to be sitting out there. It's been an awesome event, and keep it going, man. Yeah. It's awesome. It's fun to watch. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of these things, and it's pretty neat. I have to be honest. I fast forward to the legends, and that's the part I like watching. And Bill Hall's kid, I don't know him from Adam, but it was a good segment. I like watching it.
All right, Lee.
I agree with everything that they've said. Probably the biggest thing the line of work that I'm in, you're almost always the underdog, right? You're always the guy that nobody thinks is going to pull it off, and we came from that. I mean, there's no other way to. I mean, there was like zero expectations,
right?
And now there are big expectations, and I'm proud that we built that. Really,
yeah.
I mean, there's no other. I'm not trying to just
revived it.
The beginning,
yeah.
Really, the beginning right here, guys, was Coach May coming in. You know, I mean, it was back in the '60s, but when Coach May came in 1981, and you all started it. You know, you started the winning tradition at Oneida.
Spoiled everybody.
Yeah, and you got it. And throughout the '80s, it continued on. And I was just, you know, I came in when I was a freshman, and like I say, I idolized you guys. You know, but you did. You mentored me, and watching you all play. No, this is the truth. You mentored me, and watching you all play inspired me to go on and play, and kept the winning tradition going. And even though we didn't have a great year your senior year, but
that's what
you
I
all
was gonna say. How did Michael and you guys follow that up? Didn't y'all have a great?
So the next year, following you guys, they start with a loss to Gatlinburg Pittman, but it was 15-11. I mean, closest it had ever been, and then the Indians go on a nine-game win streak. No, I'm sorry, a 10-game win streak. And then fall to South Pittsburgh. They win the first round of the playoffs and lose to South Pittsburgh.
So that bunch of turds that couldn't help us win a game goes out and wins 9 the next season.
10.
Okay, yeah, cool, great.
Finished 10-2.
And then get put out of the playoffs by somebody running the single wing.
Yeah, what about that?
Yeah.
Crazy.
But it carried throughout the '80s,
right?
And then it led. It led to what they became in the '90s, and I mean.
Well, and what you're saying means a lot. I mean, I'm sure to these guys too, but also, I mean, along those same lines. So I've got 3 younger brothers so when everybody talks about the greatest days of Oneida football and the 92. When was the championship?
92.
Oh, yeah. 92.
So my brother Jude was on that team.
Right.
And then my 2 other brothers were all, I think
Joe was too.
So does he get to speak first?
What?
During this conversation, does he get?
He's not here, so.
I mean, when you guys are together, does he get to speak first since he's got a state championship?
Not really.
Yeah,
I've still got the drop on him.
Yeah,
but they grew up watching that, and that I like to believe that had something to do with
it did.
Absolutely.
They just knew that what was expected of them. They knew, you're playing for Oneida. That's a higher standard.
This is what's expected of you.
Right.
Yeah.
You're expected to win football games when you go out. You're expected to work hard when you come into this
and
program.
You don't always you're not always going to win, but you
but you're going to work your tail off to do it.
You're right. I don't ever remember going into any game thinking we're going to get beat in this game. Which was why it's hard to answer that question about the biggest surprise.
He was on crutches when he would have had those thoughts.
Yeah,
I'm telling
you.
That senior was brutal. Anyway,
I timed that just right.
Yeah. But that mentality that he just talked about, Coach May brought that with him, and he found a way to sell us on that. It took a while,
and it stays with you. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like
there had to be
I
somebody.
Do that every day.
There had to be somebody to get over the hump for all of these things, and so the hump after Gatlinburg Pittman was off the schedule, the hump was South Pittsburgh in the second round forever until it wasn't. And then in that '89 team was able to get to the Final Four and a field goal away from maybe advancing the state championship, and then '92 gets over the hump. So I mean, it's all those steps of progression, and it doesn't. None of it happens if you guys don't do what you do. That's what I believe.
All started with you all.
So
the worst thing, we skipped completely over the worst thing to happen our senior season.
What's that?
Coach May has a heart attack on the bus on the way to Webb.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he did there, not because he would have had when he got there, because we played the worst game of our season. And like the same kid scored 7 touchdowns on us that night. And but yeah,
scary night.
That was very scary. Coach Harper might have been faking it, but he stepped up and took over and made me a believer. You know, we're following this guy tonight. You know, and didn't. I mean, we still played terrible, but anyway, that was a bad memory of that. And then I don't know how many were any of you guys at the game the night that Coach May passed. No. I was for some reason, and I don't go to as many as I should, but I was at that one, and that was terrible.
All right, guys, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us, man.
Thank you for Shane, particularly. Thank you for the nudge to get this done, because
nudgy.
It's really the reason that we've been doing that. I've been wanting to do these Legends things and try to get some of you guys on record. So I thank you for that, and I needed to hear it. So
good deal.
Thank you,
appreciate the
and thank you for getting these guys together tonight. And Bat, thank you, Brian Jeffers. Appreciate you.
I know a lot of the '70s guys. You know, from my brothers. If you all
we're ready.
Want to do one?
Yes.
You get them together.
Okay.
Yep. And Leaf.
What can you say?
A lot, but I'm not going to. I appreciate you, and thank you for coming, and thank you all for this Legends evening. Mark, appreciate you tonight.
I've enjoyed it.
All right, and Craig Bond, engineering tonight. This has been an extended Legends segment here. We appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed these tales from the early 80s, and we hope we have plenty more to come. If you're a former Oneida legend out there that has some tales to tell, we've got open ears and ready to listen. So I want to thank all those involved in the broadcast. For Mark Matthews, this is Tim Smith saying thanks for joining us. You've been watching the Legends on IHSN.